Hi, this is Reese Wakefield, star of The Grandson, and you're listening to Without Your Head.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil.
That would make me terrible, Troy.
And we're joined by a longtime listener to the show, former the newsman here on the show, longtime supporter of the show, and now he has his own movie to talk about. We have Andre V on the show. How are you doing?
Fantastic. How are you doing now?
Excellent.
Welcome, Andre. You've come full circle. This is pretty awesome.
I know. I'm, devoted fan to, contributor to now, filmmaker.
I know. Now a guest, an official guest.
Exactly. And always been a friend of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Always. And Neil and Troy have, they have a nice little, role in the film.
I was very honored to be asked.
Yeah.
Yep.
I always kind of felt bad for Neil ever since he got snubbed out of The Human Centipede Part 3, but...
Oh.
I haven't seen The Human Centipede Part 3, but that...
you don't...
No, you should be happy for him in the long run. After you see the movie, you'll understand. You'll be like, yeah, maybe that was a good thing.
Yeah, I mentioned this just actually yesterday to someone, a friend of mine. And it was really hard to talk about Human Centipede 3 because not only do I like the first two, and friendly with several cast, and friends with some of the cast members, so it's very hard to talk about the movie because there's not much I can say that very positive about it.
Right. but Neil and Troy they're sort of the fourth leg of which the movie stands on, their characters, but. Once you see the movie, it's they're seeing the whole movie within a movie type concept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't have to get naked or have my face in anyone's ass.
That's a good thing, yeah. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe that's what you were looking for.
I guess it depends.
Maybe in in Andre's next movie, we can.
Let's see.
Well, it was voice, so we could have been nude. No,
yeah, that's true. And you could have had your head up my ass, and nobody would have known.
I think it would have muffled the voice.
That's true. That's true.
So for people who are not aware, Hell, I guess it's kind of hard to explain, but give people an idea of what it is.
Well, Hell, it's basically an existential journey of Crash. I played the main character in the film, and basically it goes from the idea of hell as a conceptual hell to an actual physical hell slowly over the course of the movie. And, the movie kind of starts off fairly normal, and then as it progresses, everything sort of spirals more downward for the character until he accidentally opens up the gates to hell and accidentally ends up summoning the devil.
When I first started watching, I thought maybe it would almost be a silent movie because there isn't really any dialogue till a lot later in the movie. Right. Did you ever think of just going completely that way, or how did that come about?
That idea is basically, waiting as long as possible to have any dialogue in the film. So basically, I don't think there's any dialogues around, 30-minute mark in the film. But, just kind of taking that concept from 2001: A Space Odyssey or There Will Be Blood, where the movie kind of opens on a prolonged period of silence. But, for the first two acts, there's not really any dialogue at all. And then once you get into the third act, it's actually pretty heavy with dialogue. But it's a little bit of a slow burner to get into there. But, once the demons start coming up and the horror element really kicks in, it's pretty much a different movie. But I really wanted to spend the first part of it, just kind of focusing on the character, because the first half of the movie is basically just this guy wandering around, kind of like a Stephen King Dark Tower, kind of idea, kind of, devolves into, into actual manifestation of hell.
No, it clearly was done over a period of time in many different places. So how long did it take you to just even film it?
I probably got the first shot in 2012, and have just kind of been slowly shooting it almost in sequence, bits and pieces of it ever since. But about, the last half of the movie was pretty much all shot within the last 2 years. But, I mean, it really takes a long time just, building up all the money to buy the equipment and then getting into the various locations and everything like that. But it was over a course of about 10 years.
So, those different locations, obviously, is New York, I believe Vegas, looks like New Orleans.
Yeah.
Did you go to those specifically to film, or were you there and decided to also film, while you're in those areas?
I mean, I really went there, with the intent of shooting. Like basically the New Orleans sequence is a lot different than the sequences shot on the Universal backlot in Hollywood, where there's like, the production value of the movie basically goes way up, and there's all kinds of people in costumes and stuff like that. But some of the places, just to do the reshoots, you would have to go back to at least 2 or 3 times. But it was basically coordinated to go, to those places specifically to shoot those scenes.
Who helped you? Who was your cameraman, or did you? Is some of the stuff shot yourself, or do you always have any crew members there?
I mean, I have a pretty small crew, but it's pretty much just friends of mine, or depending on the location, just people that you meet. Like for instance, the gathering of the Juggalo sequence there.
Mm-hmm.
Most of that stuff I shot myself, but there's a couple people that I just randomly met who weren't professionally trained as photographers, but I would kind of use them to get kind of their unique take on it without having somebody that was specifically thinking about setting up the shot like just like typically it's always done.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't anyone with you the entire time? There wasn't like one single person with you?
I mean, pretty much for every different scene, it was usually, a different person. But,
yeah.
There would be a lot of friends of mine that would be recurring. But like a lot of stuff in Detroit was pretty much just, family members and friends and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any part of the character that's you yourself? I don't know. As far as I know, you're not like you've never had vices. But is there anything about the character that is you? That's Andre?
I mean, not really. I mean, the character is kind of an exaggeration of, like basically I've never been a heroin addict or anything like that.
Or in a sword fight or anything like that?
No, but I mean, it's just kind of using that as an extreme. But I mean, in a lot of aspects, it's probably kind of the opposite,
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways. But like towards the end, where the character finally speaks, I mean, it's a lot of like the extremeness of like arrogance and stuff like that, which was just kind of trying to create something that was the opposite of who I was in a lot of aspects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I've always found you a humble man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, kind of some of the theory that played into it too was taking the aesthetic of wrestling and trying to combine that with a horror movie. For instance, there's a really long fight scene in the film that's kind of kind of an homage to They Live almost.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, just kind of like taking the aesthetics of that stuff that you wouldn't typically ever see in a movie, and just kind of exploiting that to people that wouldn't know anything about that world.
Did you edit it yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I did the entire movie on Final Cut Pro, and I pretty much just edited everything as I went along. The chunk towards the end of the first act, which is like a disassociative claymation hallucination scene, that took probably about 2 years to edit. That was probably the most complex part of the movie to edit.
Yeah, I'm always been a fan of your claymation. You did, little without your head one. There's some on your YouTube page. I always think they're awesome. So
Yeah,
how
those are bitchin'.
how labor intensive are they? I assume they must take a long time.
Yeah, I mean, first you have to plan everything out, but this time I went to the Stan Winston School, and took some more in-depth classes about animation and character effects and stuff like that. So, really building the puppets takes the longest, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have the sets made and the puppets made, shooting it, probably only takes a couple weeks.
Oh,
But,
wow.
Doing all the preparation and getting all the props and everything before you even start shooting that, can take like 5 to 6 months sometimes.
So do you keep that stuff? I assume clay isn't like something where you can just keep forever.
Yeah, I mean, like some of the older models have kind of deteriorated and broken down, but a lot of the newer ones, I mean, they probably won't last forever, but I mean, they're pretty durable.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's a lot of use of like a lot of different details in the movie. There's stop motion, but there's also rod puppets and cartoons, and there's even a CGI demon in it. And then the devil itself is like basically an old school kaiju type suit.
So who built that? Was that something you built?
Yeah, I built that. I probably took, that was probably the longest part of the movie, was building that suit.
Mm.
I mean, just to build the suit probably took about 5 to 6 months.
Wow.
But I mean, it's all, mattress foam on the inside of it. And then just learning to sculpt with latex rubber and,
Is that
basically.
what like his jaws are? They're like latex?
Yeah, I mean, the teeth are, a hard sculpt, so they're actually like almost real teeth. But then the inside and the mouth and the tongue and all that stuff, that's all just, latex rubber that's painted and tinted. But, with all the portrayals of the devil in the media, through different movies and everything like that, I really wanted something that was a lot more primal.
Yep.
So, we kind of went with more like a beastly type of a devil as opposed to just like a guy in a suit or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe in the devil?
I mean, I think, the devil's probably, symbolic.
Mm-hmm.
Just the opposite, type of energy. But, I mean, the whole thing that really sparked my whole interest in the movie was, the first horror movie that was ever made was actually George Méliès's. I think it was called The House of the Devil. He actually made a whole series of, they were short, silent, one-reelers, where he played the devil, and then, there's just been hundreds of movies featuring the devil, so. But he was never really used as like the way Frankenstein or the Mummy or Dracula has ever been used, really. It's always kind of more of a kind of an ironic use of them, or cliche, really. So that's really what the movie was a play on. But the movie was originally going to be called Phantasmagoria. But I actually talked, when I was out in Hollywood, I ended up getting picked up by this guy who said that he was a Hollywood producer. And I told him the name of the movie was going to be called Phantasmagoria. He said that nobody would ever remember that. So, hell, it would be a lot more direct.
Mm-hmm.
But, with Phantasm and the video game, Phantasmagoria,
Mm-hmm. I like it, though. You still use it in the movie, though.
Right. Yeah. It's the name of the first act in it.
Yeah. You said you went to the Winston School of... did you go there and take classes?
Yeah. Yeah. And, I actually learned from the guy, Bill Bryan, who worked on the original Ghostbusters, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Oh, wow.
He actually designed it and performed it. So, we taught this class on monster making, and that's basically what the devil creature is based on. Is where I went from him.
So
And,
yeah, go on. Sorry.
oh, and another one of the puppets in the movie, just like the hand and rod puppet, that was from a class from B.J. Geyer, actually did a lot of the puppets on Crank Anchors and stuff like that. So, he was a real nice guy. And, all those guys are just really nice and just really eager to share the craft. And,
Was that the puppet with the bong?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, okay, yep.
And he also appears, briefly at the very end, too.
Yep.
So how long did you study there for?
It was I stayed there for about six months.
Oh, wow. I didn't know this.
Yeah. But,
that must have been a pretty wild place to be.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's just so passionate about, keeping practical effects alive and making sure that it all just doesn't turn into CGI. But, the stuff I learned from them was really invaluable, with the kaiju and the hand and rod puppet and even making the stop motion a lot smoother as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very cool. There's also, I thought, a really good shot of the rotting apple, and I kept thinking that had to take a long time.
That was actually its own camera, which was a special time-lapse camera.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I actually put the apple there, and that shot is actually over a period of 2 years.
Oh, my God. Wow.
And I had, no matter what I did, the apple wouldn't really rot. So I would have to, poke holes in it and, pour water and alcohol and lemon juice on it. And eventually, towards the end there, I just kind of poured applesauce all over, and that created the mold.
That's pretty. That's actually very cool. That I could have used that on my pumpkin a couple of years ago.
Right? Yeah. They make these little time-lapse cameras, actually. But yeah, that was just basically I just made a piece of asphalt to match being there, and just basically sat there and took one picture every day for 2 years. So.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's dedication.
Yeah, definitely. And that's it ends up being only one shot in the movie, but
yeah, but it's a very memorable shot. I dug it.
Yeah, it kind of has that Evil Dead kind of feel to it as well.
That's very true, because even though it is time lapse, it does have kind of it has almost a a stop motion feel to it. I guess because it's jumping through time.
Right, and you see the gloopiness and the slime deteriorate, and that's really kind of when the horror element kind of starts up in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I really wanted to take the first half and not have any horror element, and kind of how do you kind of introduce a character without any dialogue. But just kind of having a character that doesn't say anything until the end was basically the idea of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I was really surprised when you did start to speak.
Yeah.
I had gotten so used to him just not talking at all.
Right. And it kind of has the shock
Yep.
But the stuff in the woods, that was all pretty much all the effect shots all had to be done separately. But once we actually got, the actor Bartholomew Powers in the devil suit, we shot all of that, within like 2 or 3 days. But, the guy in the suit actually does the voice for the devil as well, which, he obviously does a really great job because you can't even recognize him, which is,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So who did the poster art? It's absolutely awesome. I love the poster.
Yeah, there's a buddy of mine named Rob Israel, who is an artist down in Texas. But I guess he actually, has a pretty big following, and I just reached out to him, and this is the first original movie poster he's ever done. But I'm really happy with how it came out.
That's pretty wild too.
Yeah, it's very cool. You should definitely put that
yeah.
on some shirts or something.
Yeah, I think it'd be a perfect shirt design.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he definitely put a lot of work into that.
Mm-hmm. So when did you go blonde?
I think it was about a year, maybe. Yeah, it was about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. But You know,
Is
that was probably the hardest part of the movie, was shooting over such a long period of time and keeping the continuity of the hair intact.
Mm-hmm. So did you do it for the movie, or was it just something you wanted to do, and then it just becomes part of the movie?
I mean, you kind of see like the evolution of the character, through the different hairstyles.
Mm-hmm.
So when the movie starts, he kind of has like a Beatles kind of haircut.
Mm-hmm.
And then over the course of that, the hair gets longer and longer. And then, once he has the long blonde hair, it's kind of when the character really starts to change.
Mm-hmm.
But, towards the end of the movie, he ends up with kind of the Travis Bickle look. So, you're not really sure where the character arc is going to go next.
Mm-hmm. You are God's lonely man.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is a real character study.
Mm-hmm. So you pretty much had to film it in order then, or else it would have been, your hair would have been different sizes and colors, going
Right.
in and out, and that wouldn't have made much sense.
I mean, a lot of the stuff with the black hair wasn't shot in order.
Mm-hmm.
But after I had the blonde hair, I was sort of forced to shoot in order after that.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, to have a movie, I mean, there's so many different places that you can go with hell and demons. It's kind of hard to fit it all in one movie. But, just kind of using like the American wasteland, it's just like a metaphor for it instead of just, because you couldn't do a movie inside of hell unless it would just be, it'd just basically be an entire CGI fest for the whole movie, really.
Mm-hmm.
Is the only way it could really be done. But, kind of taking more of the Advent Rising approach of kind of, more of a theoretical hell.
Mm-hmm.
But, by the end of the movie, it exploits the real hell element with, the quotations from Paradise Lost and Dante's Inferno there.
So what is hell to you?
I mean, I think it's probably more like a state of mind, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But, to believe in like a real, actual, hell and just fire and brimstone, stuff like that, I don't really believe in that.
Mm-hmm. Now, you go on.
But I mean, just like as a concept, and the devil is kind of more of like a pop culture icon of, how he's been portrayed over the years, kind of getting more to, just more like a rudimentary basis of like what hell actually is.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to bring up, it's kind of a sad topic. Well, it is a sad topic, obviously. He's a mutual friend of all of ours, Tommy, who passed away a few years ago. And was he involved in anything while you're shooting this? Because he would have been live, when he started anyway. Because I did see Vault to Midnight, the comic book shop that you named your podcast after.
Oh yeah, I mean that was Tommy's podcast there. But I mean he really just helped me with one shot, kind of in the beginning. So it's unfortunate. I wish that he could have seen the flick, but.
Oh yeah, yeah. I kind of thought of him too as I was watching it. Just
Yeah.
Been like, wow, he would have really dug this.
He really would have.
Yeah, I know he would have.
Especially with the the mystic animation towards the end there.
Oh yeah.
So, what are you planning on doing with it? I know right now it's on YouTube.
Well, originally I was going to take it on the, the film festival circuit.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably the best thing to do with it is to, submit it to all the horror conventions, like Monsterpalooza and Days of the Dead, things like that, where I think an audience, could really go wild for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So I've been talking to, some of the people there, and I think that might be a good place to really show in front of an audience for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Hey, who has seen it? Like, before you put it up on YouTube, who are the people you showed it to?
Just close friends of mine. you know, just really people to get feedback on it. You know, to see if maybe I needed to change anything or, you know, correct anything before, you know, I finished it, released it. But, yeah, I think the goal is just to get, you know, really seen by as many people as possible. And then, you know, the next movie, really promote that one a lot more on the, you know, more like the mainstream or, you know, underground film festival circuit.
Mm-hmm. So what is the next movie?
I mean, I'm still trying to figure that one out, but, you know, I'm thinking maybe something that's more, you know, not as effects heavy, but kind of something that's more cerebral, but is still, you know, still within the horror genre. You know, maybe something like more science fiction, but, you know, it's really hard to do science fiction without any kind of budget. So maybe make something that kind of monopolizes on not having a budget.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Any ideas? Or you don't want to? You maybe don't want to give them away here. I don't know.
I mean, you know, it always seems like you think you know what the next project's going to be, and then it always seems to be something different. So I don't want to, you know, jinx it yet, but I definitely have a lot of ideas for it. I mean,
Mm-hmm. So when you showed it to some friends and stuff, what was the general feedback like?
I mean, overall, I think they really like. I mean, you know, the movie's a little bit of a slow burner through, you know, parts of the second act, but I mean, together as a whole, I think they really liked it. I mean, since the movie's only an hour long instead of, you know, an hour and a half or 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
You know, it seems like every movie has at least a couple of scenes that seem like they just kind of drag on a little bit longer than they should.
Mm-hmm.
But with having it just be an hour, you know, hopefully some of the slower parts, you know, don't seem so slow since it is more of a fast-paced movie.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question: is when during your fight scene with the devil, and you're
Yep.
flying through the air, through the trees, and that's pretty sweet. Was that with a trampoline, or how did you shoot that?
Yeah, I mean, it was basically on a trampoline in slow motion,
Mm-hmm.
and then it cuts to I'm basically on a box, jumping off, you know, again in slow motion,
Mm-hmm.
and then when it cuts to the real time, you know, that's just basically jumping off of the stage onto the ground. But you know, since I did all, you know, had to do all my own stunts, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Did you get hurt?
I mean, not really, but I mean,
You don't have any Tom Cruise stories?
no.
All right.
No. But I mean, for every time that I fall in the movie, I probably had to, you know, shoot it about 10 times, or, you know.
Mm-hmm. You also rolled down some steps.
Yeah, I mean, those were real concrete steps.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, you know, I actually had to reshoot it twice. So I probably rode down the steps probably like 20 or 30 times altogether just to get that sequence.
Had you ever rolled down steps before?
No, I mean, I was just kind of, you know, improvising there the first.
Learning on the fly on that one, huh?
I mean, you wonder how they shoot, you know, some of the, you know, serial scenes, but I guess it's probably just padding, but, you know, I just, you know, did it over and over again with no padding, so.
Mm-hmm. And so it's been a while since we've had you on the show. Obviously, Hell, we want people to see, but what are some recent horror movies you've really enjoyed over the last few years?
You mean like modern horror?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you know, like the Babadook's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think. I mean, you know, some of the stuff on, you know, like Stranger Things is another really good one.
Yeah.
But I don't know. In terms of like a great horror movie, I mean, like Get Out was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't, you know, like crazy about it.
I liked it.
No, I mean, I thought it was really good, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, you know, in terms of like, you know, stuff like The Purge and, you know, stuff like that, I don't really get too excited about.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought the First Purge, which not the first movie, but the latest movie where the name is called the First Purge, I thought it was the best of the series.
Huh.
I haven't seen that one yet either.
But I don't know. I mean, there hasn't really been like a great, horror film. And, Medium Follows was pretty good.
I like that.
I really like Devil's Candy.
Yeah, I like that one a lot too.
I haven't seen that one yet.
I think you'd like it.
One you'd like too, I think, is Train to Busan. If you haven't seen that one, good zombie movie.
Huh. I mean, Guillermo del Toro, he's always.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure you saw Shape of Water.
Oh yeah, I mean that was just, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Very cool.
A lot of people, they tried calling it, fish porn. But, I mean,
You can't please everybody.
I mean, it's not like pornographic. You don't see, you don't even see the thing.
Right.
So you don't see you don't see his hoopity ha going into her whoopity woo, and then I go whoop whoop whoop. You know what I'm saying?
Don't see his guppy.
All right. For people not understanding, you don't see his penis enter her vagina.
Whoa, now, fella.
Oh, okay.
It's all off screen.
Or any of her orifices, for that matter.
All right. Strictly anal in this movie.
Right. There's no penetration of any kind visible.
Well, I'm not going to see it now.
All right. Sure. No money shots.
I'm gone. Did me.
That would be something if he just splooged in her face.
Oh, yeah, that would bring a whole new aspect to the movie.
Exactly.
A Serbian film. That was another.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Serbian film.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Very well. A lot of people just see it as a shocking movie, and it definitely has, incredibly shocking scenes. But I think it's a really well-made movie and very well acted.
Yeah, I mean, if you just viewed it as a drama, I mean, it's a good.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the second time I liked it even better because the first time like most people, you see the shocking things like, well, it's crazy. But then I watch it the second time and you really see it more for the story and very well. It's obviously.
And that main guy is so good in it. I think it's so well acted, that movie.
Yeah, and the villain guy's great too. The director. He's so over the top.
The outrageousness kind of drama.
Mm-hmm.
What's that Turkish one too, Neil?
Baskin.
Yeah, Baskin's great. I think you'd like it, Andre, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix.
And 31, I enjoyed 31. I thought that was a pretty good one. The Rob Zombie movie.
I liked it too.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan, but Troy liked.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to 3 from Hell.
Yeah,
can't wait for that one.
I don't know how they're gonna explain how they survived getting shot out at the end.
Yeah, I thought that too, and then the more I think about it, it's like, well, at the end of the day, it is a movie, so what the hell? I'm just happy that they're back. It's cool to see another movie with them.
I mean, they could always do Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, where the ending is just a dream sequence or something like that.
Dear God, no! Don't. We'd never want to think about that movie again.
And then it's a white horse.
That's it. Of Sid Haig riding across on a white horse.
The Living Dead girl makeup.
Maybe they just got shot, and then they
got better.
Arrested them. Yeah, because it looks like from the clips they're in prison. So.
Right. It seems like it's kind of taken on the kind of a Manson family kind of vibe,
Yeah.
Kind of ampling up, parts of the trial. It'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm happy to see more of those 3 characters.
Yeah. I mean, probably out of, a modern horror franchise, or probably the most memorable. I mean, I prefer that over a Saw,
Yeah. It's definitely the closest we have to a modern iconic villain would be that. And you have to put Jigsaw in there. I don't really like those movies either, but he would be in there though. But we don't have there's not in the 80s and the 70s, there was, all kinds of, that's when Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers, Leatherface, and all those guys came out. And way before that, you had Wolfman. Yeah, but for a long time, there really wasn't anything like that. It was just kind of really just remakes of those same movies.
Yeah.
And now it seems like, they still just push the remake and sequel and prequel.
Yeah, that's kind of trapped in that, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Now, it's the sequels that, omit all the other sequels.
Yeah. Well, kind of like, the new Halloween, where you just kind of forget
which
the Halloweens that came in between.
Which, if it's a good movie, it's fine, but
Oh, yeah.
It's not even an original idea, because that's exactly what H2O did. This one's just skipping over more movies.
I'm intrigued by it, though. When I saw the trailer, I got to say, I really am looking forward to it.
I mean, it definitely looks, like one, a lot better than probably any movie since Halloween, the original Halloween.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it looks good. I want to see it.
Yeah.
And a lot of like the sequels of late are really just remakes of not even just horror, but in general. It'll say it's a sequel, but it's really just a remake of the first movie.
Yeah.
Like the Star Wars Episode 7. I liked it, but really it's just a remake of the original Star Wars movie.
Yeah. Or even, I saw the other day Dumb and Dumber 2. It was pretty much an exact remake of the first movie. The same jokes, the same story.
Just with older, creepier Jim Carrey and the other guy.
A lot creepier.
Yeah.
I guess it's not really a new thing, I think, because Evil Dead 2 really is just Evil Dead, only with a bigger
More
budget,
comedy,
more comedy. Yeah.
I mean, they're slightly, different characters, but it's kind of a slightly different movie. It's not an exact remake, but then it's like every movie now has to have a shared universe. Like apparently, there's going to be another Conjuring spinoff.
Yeah, The Nun. That one's already coming out, and then I think they're doing another Annabelle, and then they put into a lot of these things hoping for spinoffs, because The Nun, even though it is very cool looking and stuff, it really had nothing to do in that movie it was in. Just kind of stuck in there.
I mean, does every movie really need to have a Marvel Cinematic Universe type?
Well, they all try to do it, and it's like they don't realize that it just kind of happened naturally with the Marvel thing. It's like you can't force it. It just has to either, come just naturally or don't do it at all.
Right.
And those have the history of the source material behind them too. It's not like you're just creating all this out of nothing.
Yeah. Did they finally give up on the Dark Universe thing? The whole.
I think so.
I hope so.
I think they said The Mummy was, the last one.
Good. If you saw The Mummy, you'll understand.
Did you guys?
Tom Cruise just kind of took over The Mummy and, just made it an action.
Yep.
Did you guys see the new trailer? It just came out, I think, yesterday or maybe today, for the new Teen Titans series, the TV show.
Oh, you mean the live action one?
Yeah.
There's a live action Teen Titans?
That's the one with the Dirty Robin in it, where he's just like.
No, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so in the trailer, Robin they cut into Robin and he goes, "Fuck Batman." I'm just like, what the hell? Like, I didn't understand. I don't know what cable, it has to be on cable, I guess, for him to say "fuck Batman." I don't think that'll be on
the Cartoon Network,
or Fox or something. I think even basic cable usually cuts out fuck. Like they only get one fuck a season, I think. Like, that was like the rule of Breaking Bad, I think.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Just seems like the DC stuff is just so scattered.
Yeah, and they're obsessed with everything being dark and gritty. It's like, why does Robin need to be this dark, dreary guy going fuck Batman?
Yeah, that's weird, because I just saw that the Teen Titans, the animated show, is getting like a movie. They're getting like a
Oh yeah.
It's like
theatrical movie.
I mean,
Teen Titans Go, I believe.
Yeah. And it's actually a lot of fun. Like, I'll watch that with the nephews and stuff. It's pretty good. I think it's Tartakovsky.
But it's kind of almost a joke on, they, like as a continuity of a franchise, it just is kind of so, starts again, stops again.
Yeah.
There was a really funny. It was a skit on Conan O'Brien they've been sharing on Facebook, and it was Conan's Batman, and he's sitting at the DC table like at lunch in the cafeteria, and so it's him and Superman and the robot guy and Aquaman, and like he goes over because he wants to sit with the Marvel guys like the Black Panther because they're all having fun, and
That's awesome.
it's really funny. And then he leaves, and it just starts to rain. Right in the cafeteria.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it was very funny. You have to watch it. It's all over the Facebook.
All right, I'll have to check that out.
Mm-hmm. So how can people follow Hell? Your movie, not like the actual place.
Yeah, I mean the movie's probably speed. But I mean it's on YouTube. If you go to Helveticus on Twitter, you can also see it there. But I just basically wanted to put it, and make it available for free so everybody could see it, and then, then maybe charge, for the next one, maybe $2 to $5 or something like that. We'll see.
Like video demand kind of deal.
Hope so.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Make it, make it all decent.
Mm-hmm. And how about follow yourself? They need to follow Andre. And how do you say your last name? I've known you for like 15 years. And I can never say it.
It's Vanpoelvoorde.
Vanpoelvoorde. All right. I'll try to remember that. I feel terrible because I'm not even joking. I think I've known you for 13 years, and I always just call you Andre V.
I mean, it is, a bit of a tongue twister.
The
abominable Andre Vanpoelvoorde.
You should have told that producer when he said, like, no one will remember Phantasmagoria. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, how about this last name? Like, holy shit.
Yeah, hit him with that one.
By that. But, I mean, it was kind of a dream come true, just to, be able to shoot on the Universal backlot.
That had to be badass.
Yeah, so how did that happen? Did you just sneak in? Or you like, this is like a real movie? Oh, it is? That's awesome.
Like, don't mind me.
It was pretty much, during the Halloween Horror Nights there.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep it open at night until like 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much a lot of the footage there was just walking through the different houses. I mean, they had, like Ash versus the Evil Dead house and the Shining, attraction, all that kind of stuff. But, just basically using the production value of, they already have hundreds of people already made up.
Mm-hmm. Anyone give you a hard time, or did you just
No,
mind?
I mean, they're all actually really open about it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Where was the hardest place to shoot?
I mean, the hardest place to shoot was probably at the Gathering of the Juggalos.
Just because there was so much going on.
Oh yeah, I mean, I kind of was, thinking what would be, like a really good metaphor for the apocalypse. And, the Gathering of the Juggalos just kind of seemed like the perfect fit. I mean, you got the carnival ride aesthetic, fire and garbage everywhere, and
people throwing piss.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, when I went there, they would light fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
They would throw them at the stage. Fireworks would go off at the musicians. But I mean, it sounds like a really good idea on paper, but and you're surrounded by about 10,000 drunken juggalos. It's That was probably the most chaotic part for sure.
Yeah, that doesn't even sound like a good idea to me on paper.
No, because they're rowdy when they're sober, that gang.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So when they're really out of control.
Did you get any Fago?
Oh yeah, I actually got into a fight with Violent J there.
Really?
Yeah, because basically these guys kind of drive around in a golf cart throughout the whole thing. And the Choclos, they just give up all of their best drugs to basically their leaders.
Wow. So you have to pay tribute to them.
Yeah.
So he was mad that you didn't give him any drugs?
Yeah, give me drugs and women. What are you doing?
So by the time they got on the stage, they're basically so out of it they couldn't even, they couldn't remember the lyrics to their songs. And so the jugglers kind of turned on them, like they would light fireworks and throw them at them. And
wow. We're not going to take it. Da, na, 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 na.
So I actually ended up flipping off Violent J there, and he, hit me in the eyes with the diet. They all
with like a diet red pop. He's like,
diet root beer actually is. So you're standing there, and everybody's totally covered in diet soda, and it's not a really great time,
That's totally bizarre. I love it.
But people do walk around and hand out, sweet tarts, at least with OSD right in the front row there.
So did you get any of that, or you stayed away from that?
I mean, a little bit.
All right.
Made the filming a lot more difficult. Maybe that's why the movie is so so hectic and taking the easy rider approach to some of it.
Oh man! So did you? So he's Dondre's taking LSD and he's drinking the Robitussin.
Well,
just a derelict.
Dennis Hopper Road now, man.
I mean, that's what the in the film, that's what the film's about. Yeah.
All right. Well, we don't want to see you end up in like rehab or anything.
Oh no. I mean, the little gathering is something I would never do
again. So that was a one-time deal.
Yeah, I would leave it at that.
Where was that
I gotta
at?
say, I was thinking about that myself at one time, and now I'm pretty sure I can pass on that.
Yeah, I was invited to one year.
I mean, they do have
Violent J on the show.
Wrestling in the middle of the night there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was invited to that when I was to be Uncle Slam. I've never been exactly sure to do what, but I assumed I'd just come out and people would help me.
Just stand there. Yeah, there you go.
I get the fuck out of here. Throw shit at me and rocks and batteries.
Yeah.
They bring out random people to get abused.
Here's a hot dog.
Public stoning.
One of like Hell's Angels annual gathering.
So where was that?
They had the gathering last year out in Oklahoma City, so it was about 100 degrees out there.
Oh wow!
Damn.
So, you basically had a lot of people walking around with no clothes on. They probably shouldn't be walking around with no clothes on. That was probably the scariest part of being.
Let's see the juggalo junk.
That's something nobody wants to see.
Do they paint their nether regions? Like they put like clown makeup? Or, like.
I mean, unfortunately, they don't.
No.
I'm sure that could catch on as the
Oh yeah, you put like a red clown nose, on that, and you'd be all right, I think.
Yeah.
So it was really weird because I guess out in Oklahoma City they're all really conservative.
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I guess they have like a lot of like undercover police that went there, and
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's why a lot of people were mad at them and throwing fireworks and stuff at them.
Wow.
But needless to say, the Insane Clown Posse, sort of got, they're not in the movie.
Mm-hmm. So, did you go to Stephen King's house?
Yeah, that was actually shot right in front of his house in Bangor, Maine. There.
Oh, that's totally cool too.
Yeah, I mean, living in Maine is probably one of the best locations you could use. I mean, it's been used in like a lot of horror magazine videos and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just love the gate design there. Definitely had a real gothic kind of feel there. But then the fight scene that comes after that, basically the idea behind that is the guy's like a lone, juggalo.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also a wrestling fanatic. So he's kind of like a Mankind impersonator.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just sort of like a drunken maniac, and out of that stems a They Live type fight scene.
Where did you find that guy? Was that someone you knew that just wanted to do something like that? Okay.
I mean, that was a friend of mine. I mean, I kind of do, really coax him into it. But, it was all basically, based off of hardcore wrestling.
So I like the little dog collar shot. It's like a little Roddy Piper and Greg Valentine action.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely a match that doesn't get talked about enough.
Yep.
But yeah, that's definitely where that idea came from.
Mm-hmm. So you wouldn't go through a table. You take the big table bump. How was that? What was that like? Did it hurt?
No, that was actually a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just kind of, it was like, just landing on air, basically.
So what was the funnest thing to shoot?
The funnest thing to shoot is probably shooting stuff with the devil, or actually, shooting the stuff at Mardi Gras in New Orleans is a lot of fun as well.
Mm-hmm. I've never been to New Orleans, so that was a good time.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was kind of like, similar to the Gathering, but a lot tamer,
Probably friendlier people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Ew.
I mean, the Juggalos, they're a friendly bunch, but probably
Rowdier.
Well, 8 out of 10 of them will probably tell you that New Jack is their favorite wrestler.
Right, it's much more violent.
Yeah, we get the more laid-back drunks at
mm-hmm.
in New Orleans.
Yeah, the shooting down in New Orleans is a lot of fun. Just using kind of the neon a backdrop there.
Mm-hmm. So did you get wasted on Bourbon Street?
Not too bad. I mean, I really, spend more of my time, shooting and.
Yeah, don't listen to me. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Be more productive.
Which was actually weird because there's actually, they didn't allow alcohol at the, the Juggalo Gathering.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Sort of made them rowdier because they all had to resort to other things.
Mm-hmm. Did you give anyone any beads?
No. But I don't know. The bead thing doesn't happen as much as you would think it is.
Oh, really?
Like some of the stuff was down in the Cajun cultures, kind of outside of like Bourbon Street in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So where it cuts to the parade there, it's actually a Zulu parade, which is like a really famous thing down in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. What was the food like?
The food was probably the best part.
Mm-hmm.
Jambalaya and it's all pretty spicy, but I mean it's all you can't really compare it to anything in New England. I mean, fried chicken and Waffle Houses, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've always wanted to go. I think I'd enjoy myself. Just the food alone, I think.
I mean, I think they have a Mad Monster party down there, but
food and drink would keep you entertained.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's nonstop food drink everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
It's all pretty exceptional. So.
Mm-hmm. So you said you edited the hell while you were going along. I assume that would make it quicker than editing it all at one time.
Yeah, I mean, towards the end, I didn't really have to do too much because a lot of the stuff was edited in advance.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, it was really just, probably the biggest advantage I had on making the movie was just having the time to, really tweak every frame of it, over a long period of time and recut certain portions of it. I mean, I probably spent a year just going through the footage and, re-editing certain parts, knowing that, there's probably a better scene in certain parts, cutting it differently.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, just using Final Cut Pro and, all the tools are really accessible and, really easy to sort of master after you've been using them for a long time. But,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, editing ever since I was a kid on, just connecting two VCRs together and kind of, making my own, movie marathons of, cutting off the, the opening title or the credits of one thing and just, putting like a whole movie series on one tape or re-editing things, stuff like that. So, I mean, I've probably been editing longer than
Well, that's good because I wouldn't have a clue. I think like if I was thrown into that situation, I'd be lost as far as like the editing things go.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a minute to kind of figure it out, but once you kind of get into it, it's kind of like Photoshop or anything. I mean, it's pretty easy to navigate.
Yeah, I've helped. I've never edited like a movie, but I've done a lot of my own videos. But it's I think the hardest part for me is always just starting it. It's always like I always think, oh, I don't want to sit here and edit.
Oh,
but
really?
once you do it, like time does fly by, and you can kind of get in a groove, I think.
Yeah, I mean, once you get into it, it's almost kind of like a rhythm that you kind of feel.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been a real big fan of a lot of the ever since even the old dinner and movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are fun to do. Troy and I have been doing some movie reviews that people have been digging, so they're fun.
No, I like those. And the stuff at the convention was a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'll be getting a whole bunch of videos here when we go to England for Fright Fest. There should be a lot of cool videos coming from that.
How long are you going to be in England?
For a week.
Oh, nice.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Are there going to be any big guests there?
We'll be there at Fright Fest as a press for it's a big horror movie convention in England.
Nice.
Festival.
Oh, nice. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, there's some really cool movies playing there. I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, you got to see like the list of flicks. Like, there's no way you could see them all over the 5 days.
Yeah, you'd have to just watch nothing but movies, like all day long.
You couldn't do anything else. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so we're gonna plan. Jason and I are gonna plan that this weekend. Which ones we're gonna see, because we want to do other stuff while we're in England as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine it'd be really cool to go there.
Yeah, I've never been there.
Yeah.
I've never been out of the States.
Oh, you'll love it. It's a great place.
Did you film anything in Cuba? Because I know you went to Cuba not too long ago, or probably longer than I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually 2 shots in Cuba. One of them's in the still image montage there, and the other part is the sunset over the river there towards the right before the epilogue there. But going to Cuba was really great. I mean,
Oh, I bet.
it's one of those countries that's really hard to get in and out of. I mean, coming back, they kept us at the Canadian border for I think 10 hours.
Wow.
So that was pretty intense.
That's a place I know very little about.
Yeah, I mean it's still a communist country, but I mean it's really beautiful.
Mm.
It's weird that you go to the Canadian border from Cuba. Seems like a long distance.
Yeah, I mean, we, flew out of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way you could get there at the time.
Oh.
But, no, I mean, going there was really great, and the people were just, some of the nicest people I ever met. I mean, they were really nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to hear, anyway.
You smoke a Cuban cigar?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
a Cuban sandwich?
they actually don't really have Cuban sandwiches there.
Oh, no. That's breaking my heart. You're going to tell me there's no, like, mojitos there, too.
No, I mean, they do have, the best mojitos. I definitely recommend going there, and that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun to travel and make a movie. I mean, It takes a lot of, perseverance in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, once you have enough confidence, I mean, you can do anything.
So sometimes I don't know, Andre. I know you've watched horror movies your whole life. Were your parents always cool with you watching horror movies? And what do they think about you wanting to make movies?
I mean, they've been pretty supportive of it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I mean, they probably weren't such a fan of, me watching some of the slasher movies when I was, a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I definitely say, they've been pretty, really supportive throughout the whole thing.
Did they see Hell?
Yeah, they did. They really liked it a lot.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Maybe they can be in your next movie. Give 'em a little cameo.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So it's all been pretty positive feedback so far?
Yeah. I mean, I know you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
But, I mean, so far, the general feedback has all been really positive.
Good.
Very good. It's good to hear. So what's I know you're is the movie you're gonna do next? Are you planning that soon, or when do you think you'll start working on that?
I mean, I hope to start working on that one pretty soon. This one took 10 years to make.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope the next one,
It'll take 8.
No, I mean, I'm, hoping to do, something that's not as much of an epic or a magnum opus,
Mm-hmm.
Doing something that's, like a lot more rock and roll, faster, maybe shoot something in 3 weeks. I mean, I hope to have the next one out by, Halloween of this year at the latest.
Oh, awesome. I don't want to be 60 years old when your next one comes out, okay? That's all I'm asking.
No.
Okay.
No. But yeah, I mean, I definitely like to, keep making, as many as possible. I mean, you don't get to make a movie every day, so when you do it, you really have to make it count.
Mm-hmm. So what was the feeling like once you had this all shot? You have it edited, and it's done. It's 10 years in the making. Big part of your life, big part of your youth putting this together. Well,
Yeah.
What was the feeling like once it's ready for people to actually see?
I mean, it definitely feels like a big accomplishment. I mean, it's kind of surreal that you work on something for so long and then it's done. But I mean, after you get, kind of 5 years into it, you're definitely committed to definitely finishing it after you put that much work into it. But I mean, it's really great, great motivator to keep going. That through all the raising the money and all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, to overcome all that and come out with a finished product. It's great. I mean,
Oddly enough, you have a clip of In Your Head, the wrestling show, talking about Corey Graves. And then I thought when you shaved your head, you actually looked, well, you didn't shave your head, but you shaved your hair, and you actually looked quite a bit like Corey Graves, I thought.
I mean, I definitely see the resemblance, Probably
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Probably the tuxedo helped too a little bit.
That's true. He's a very very well-dressed man.
Yeah, which is kind of ironic because, I'm much more of like a Gordon Sully, Jerry the King Lawler fan, when it comes to announcing. I'm not really a Corey Graves fan, but, the fact that he got in the movie is kind of ironic.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely ensures, charisma on the subject. And, I just thought after it was such a dark movie for 40 minutes, I just kind of definitely needed a change of pace, something that was a little bit lighter.
Mm.
And, just to go with something current that's, there's just so much to wrestling. You couldn't make a movie on, that would just cover just one part of it. So, but I don't know. There's just something about that kind of spoke to me in sort of a surrealist way. So, but just kind of paying tribute to the old days of Without Your Head. Back in the days with John and Tommy Doom there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I thought it was kind of a nice lead-in.
Fun times.
Oh yeah, and there's definitely just so much to the In Your Head, Without Your Head archives. Choosing any one moment.
You're right.
Definitely a chore.
Yeah. It's like 14 years of audio. It's probably like, I don't know, I would assume thousands of hours.
Anybody that's out there that wants to take the time to, you could make another 10 movies just based off of, clips.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. I wonder how long that would take to just binge listen to all of the whole archives of either show. Never mind both shows. Like if you just started at episode 1 and just listened all the way through.
Might be giving Dark Shadows a run for their money.
I know, because we've had some marathon shows too, like some 4 or 5 hour suckers.
Very cool. So what else you have going on, Andre? You're just really focusing on making the movies.
Yeah, just finished this one. I'm just kind of taking a minute to sort of cleanse my palate, so to speak, and try to figure out what the next one's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just kind of using the movie as almost sort of a resume to show to people. Potentially to get funding on the next one going, or. But I definitely like to definitely stay with it, and definitely keep writing. And being involved in movies however I can,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, when you started this, were you a teenager then when you started filming this?
Yeah, when I started it, I was 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm 25 years old. So it's really, it's almost like when Boyhood came out, the Richard Linklater movie.
Yeah.
It's not quite, as pronounced, but I think, there's definitely a big difference between the first shot and the last shot of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think kind of the, when you're making a movie, the one thing that's more valuable than the money is time, really. And, a lot of projects, it takes 10 years just to, get the script written before they ever, do anything in pre-production.
Mm-hmm.
So, just kind of capturing the difference, because, in the beginning of the movie, he's kind of on Robitussin, and then you see the effects of, kind of hits on all the different drugs, and how that affects him until, it actually manifests into a real drama that he plays out.
Mm-hmm. Was it meant to show, in your story, is it meant to be over like several years?
That part's kind of ambiguous.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely implied, cause just in going through the different seasons. But I think it's definitely implied over a few years.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to leave it more open to interpretation, to kind of let people guess, was it just 1 year, or is it several years, or but just kind of letting the viewer make that up in his mind. Is at the end of the movie, he shaves all of his hair off, but the last shot of the movie, he actually still has his hair, so then you're kind of left on, is the future? Did he grow his hair back, or is it still in the past? You don't know.
Right.
Continues on with his ways, or if he, changes his ways. So it's kind of left on that ambiguous kind of note.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, we want to thank you for coming on tonight, and you're always welcome back on, Andre. You can come on anytime, talk about movies, or you can just talk about horror, talk about whatever you want.
Oh yeah, it's always a pleasure talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Really happy that you guys could be a part of the movie.
It's very happy.
That was so much fun. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I think your guys' part is, it's one of the better parts of the movie.
Oh, it was just a lot of fun. It was like just watching that, just like, wow, this is good stuff.
I mean, I was kind of going for that Orson Welles War of the Worlds kind of vibe, where you're on the radio and then it actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, I think the demon towards the end is definitely my favorite demon in the whole movie.
I love that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I love all the demons and all the claymation, all that stuff's very cool. I think you do a really good job with it.
Yeah, all that crazy shit.
Thank you. Yeah, and I hope the next one's even better.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to that one. And hopefully everything is good in your private life.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Very good. And Andre's been on and off the show for years, and he's never accused me of harassment or anything.
Oh no.
The only person associated with the show that doesn't currently hate Neil at one time or another.
Exactly. Who's not my blood relative.
Yeah. Well, you're just assuming things now.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't know my private conversations with me.
Neil's a good man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. He's put up with my nonsense for years. So. Although the person at the pizza place today thought he was my son.
Really?
Like, yeah, your son was in the other day. And I'm like, oh, well, that's good. I didn't know I had a son. I'm like, well, a guy you come in with sometimes. My little brother. Oh, okay.
I gotta get some more Dress for Men, or else people
Or
don't
I
think
need
that
to
anymore.
get some, for God's sakes. They're thinking I'm your old man now.
I noticed the gray's coming back in my beard. I haven't used it for months, so that's probably why.
We creepy old people say that looks distinguished.
That's what they say.
That's what we tell ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Some people told me it looks good. I don't know.
And Neil, aren't you in another movie that's upcoming to be released?
Yeah, I actually filmed a very similar role, honestly. It was oddly enough, someone on the radio where things are going, things are happening. So it's a similar idea. Let me get the name of that up here, because it's an anthology.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sweet. That's right up our alley.
Yeah, it's in Brett DeJager's Cryptids, which is a anthology, and I'm in the one that's being directed by Brett DeJager. I believe it's already finished, so I don't know when it comes out though. I'm looking forward to it, and I will be filming a movie this summer sometime. Summer, maybe possibly fall. Special Needs Revolt.
Huh. Yeah. And isn't Lloyd Kaufman in that one as well?
Yeah, look at this. Listen to this cast. It's got Lloyd Kaufman, myself.
Right.
God, there's a lot of people.
You don't need anyone else.
That's very true. That's very true. Who's the porn star people say I look like? The old male porn star.
I know the guy and I can't think of his name.
Sure.
The sledge. Yeah, Jeremy. What is his name?
Ron Jeremy.
Ron Jeremy. Yes, it's
I
me.
was thinking
Ron
Jeremy Irons, but no, not quite.
Me, Ron Jeremy, Lloyd Kaufman, and Bill Whedon.
Oh, that's badass.
Sergeant Kabuki Man. No, I'm not saying I have a huge role in this movie, but I do. I do play I guess I'm allowed to say I play Gacy, who's a vicious guard who I believe likes to beat up this autistic, not autistic, likes to beat up a Down syndrome Hitman.
Right.
It's a role I was born to play. It's very weird that they thought, hey, this is a good role for Neil. He looks like someone who likes to beat up, Down syndrome people.
Yeah.
So I could see that working.
That sounds like fun, though. That should be a good
Oh,
time.
yeah. That'd be a really good time. Very cool anyone asked me to do anything. Or both of us, Troy and I.
Yeah. Troy.
And I filmed something else, too. We're going to be in Cool as Hell, too.
Oh, yeah. James Balsamo.
Exactly.
He's a reader on this guy.
Yeah.
Super, super good guy.
That was very fun to film.
I kind of I was just at the right place at the right time or wrong place at the right time. Because Neil was doing his scene, and they're like, hey, why don't you jump over here, too? And I was like, me? I was just out here having a smoke. I'm like, no, get in here. Okay.
Who do you play in Cool as Hell?
I am, I forget my character's name. I think I am Shem.
Oh.
And during Neil's scene, I'm an integral part of that scene.
He is. Kind of a bully.
No. I'm kind of on your side.
That's true. I think you're the nicest one of the.
I am. I'm the only one that isn't in on what's going to happen.
Right. I think I could. I don't know. Yeah, wait until it comes out. You'll find.
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Well, we'll tell Andre off the air. We'll tell him about the scene.
Exactly. There are pictures, I think, out there.
Yeah. And Krampus is in there with us.
Exactly. Unleash the Krampus.
Yep.
Oh, anything with Krampus.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm a big fan of Krampus.
Neil and Krampus in the same scene. You know it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's weird. I once played Krampus, and now.
Oh, yeah.
Battling Krampus.
I think you started the whole Krampus craze.
I do think we did as a show, because I think, you were brought up Krampus years ago, and then I did the Krampus in the video, and you drew me as Krampus, or I think one of us Krampus. And then, not long after that, Krampus is just everywhere.
Yeah, that movie came out, Krampus movie.
Yep.
Yeah, there's several movies with Krampus. You just see Krampus stuff everywhere. I think around Christmas, there's more Krampus stuff than Santa Claus now.
Well, I think he's more trusted than Santa Claus now.
It's true.
People are always weirded out by Santa, and they trust Krampus. You know what you're getting involved in there.
That's true. And movie Santa's always just a dirty guy. Either a drunk or a demon or something. A lot of drunk
kind of
Santas.
scumbag.
Yeah. Ever since Trading Places, I think Santa Claus is always portrayed as a drunk.
And you're probably right.
Santa.
Or a perv. Something going on with Santa every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You ever go on, Andre, what you're saying?
What did you guys think of the Joe Bob Briggs marathon? Did you guys get a chance to see that?
I did not, but I've heard amazing things about it. It was so popular, it killed Shudder. Shudder just closed down while it was going on.
I know, it shut down for a while, but it came back up. And
yeah.
Just watch that.
And I believe all of it's up on Shudder now, so you could go back and watch it anytime.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm looking forward to it anyway.
Yeah, I heard that they told me if I had to watch one of them, to definitely watch the Blood Feast one. I guess his whole feel about it. It was very entertaining.
Oh, that's awesome. Can't go wrong with Blood Feast anyway.
Exactly. I believe Rabid was on it, which the Soskas are remaking.
Well, at least that remake can't be much worse than the original. That's a pretty poor movie.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's this classic, but I watched it recently. I don't know. I can't say I was a big fan.
I just remember the armpit thing when I was a kid.
Yeah, there's an armpit penis.
Yeah, just
a mosquito.
Isn't that an armpit vagina or?
I thought it when I guess so. Yeah.
I don't know.
But she has a stinger too that sticks into people.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, that's how she sucks her blood. It's kind of like a mosquito.
It's been a long time.
It's like a vagina-penis combo thing. Spike comes out of it's like every orifice, rolled into one, pretty much.
All right. It's a multi-purpose armpit.
I saw that they just signed on CM Punk to be in it, which didn't get
there
a lot
you go.
I know they're wrestling fans, but I don't think CM Punk
then.
screams like a great actor. CM Punk. Hope he's a better actor than he is a fighter.
I don't know.
Guess it can't be much worse.
No, that's true.
Him and his wife AJ Lee will be in it.
What does she do now?
She's CM Punk's wife.
All right, cool.
She did write a book, which is weird because she's like 25 or something. Wrote like her life story. No, nothing. I mean, Andre, you're 25, but would you write like your autobiography at 25?
Probably not. I mean, probably don't have that much to work with.
Yeah, I don't think anyone should be writing their life story at 25.
Nah, unless you plan on like cashing in at 26.
I don't know. Maybe she's done a lot in this 25 years. I don't know.
Well, she
Maybe
wore a lot of shorts in wrestling.
Did. Oh, yeah. In small fights, AJ Lee.
Do you know if Incher was happy with his performance as the Mummy there?
I don't know. He doesn't. He only talks about pinball.
No.
I gotta think he will be though.
Yeah, I'm sure. You gotta make him watch it. It's like stop playing Tetris and Warlords on your Atari 2600.
Warlords, dear God.
Watch this movie.
I mean, there's kind of a sequel to Mad Monster Party there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
It throws them all in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even the Phantom of the Opera there, and I mean, I've always been a huge Lon Chaney fan.
Oh yeah. Gotta be.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the coolest experiences a few years ago. I went to see the original Family Opera.
Oh wow.
With a live orchestra.
Wow.
Very cool.
I mean, the whole genre pretty much started with Lon Chaney.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yep.
And his stuff still holds up.
Yeah.
Oh,
well.
Yeah,
all these
you
years
look at any of that jazz and like it just kind of blows your mind just seeing like the different makeups and
Oh yeah.
it's great stuff.
I mean, even stuff like the Unholy Three or the West of Zanzibar.
Yeah, it was cool. I was pleased with your choices of monsters that we would be. I was very happy to be the Hunchback.
Oh yeah, and the Lon Chaney Hunchback.
Yep. Although I got to admit, I think I'm a Lawton man when it comes to my Quasimodo.
Yeah.
I don't think you can go wrong with the Charles Lawton Quasimodo.
A little more emotional.
Yeah, but look-wise, I mean, you can't go wrong with the Chaney one.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you really started with the Universal monsters, and then it kind of evolved to the slashers. But I mean, now after Scream, I don't know how you could even make slasher like Prowler or something like that today.
Yeah, it makes it a lot tougher, I would think.
I think any of the modern slashers are really like homages. I think to the old school slashers.
Yeah. But I mean,
they have a retro vibe to them. Like Terrifier, I thought was excellent. Actually, modern day slasher film, and that's a movie you should watch. Actually,
Yeah, Terrifier I loved.
Yeah.
Spookiest clown like for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And so it's definitely a slasher movie, and it has that retro vibe to it. But it's like how when I watch, I really felt like it was like an 80s slasher movie that wasn't edited, so they didn't have to worry about having a scene being cut down for people to watch it.
right.
So like the gore is very gory and very intense.
It's crazy gore.
Yeah. But yet it's a good movie too. It's not just doesn't just rely on the gore. So I really dug it. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, definitely have to check it out. I want to see it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, after the slashers, kind of went, then it kind of goes the whole supernatural.
Yeah, that's
Less
what we've had a lot lately. Yeah, it's like haunted house, not even just haunted house, but like I said, supernatural kind of. So it's a lot of people. It's more like instead of haunted houses, it's haunted people.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But then also like fair share of like zombie stuff too, thanks to like The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, it's true.
But even like American Horror Story and stuff, a lot of it's psychological, even though a lot of it's kind of like an homage. But I don't know if the next breed's going to be combining all three. The monster, the gore, and the psychological.
That might be kind of cool.
What I can't stand is that people use I forget what the term is. If it's like post horror, because they say it's I don't know, because they say like I forget. I think it's post horror. And they say like it's horror that relies on characters and like.
Oh right.
And it's just like, well, that's always been part of horror. Horror is not just blood and stuff. I mean, all the '70s horror and a lot of the '60s stuff was that. It's not something that was just invented.
Yeah. If you
Any
don't
kind of story.
If you don't care about the characters, I mean, it doesn't have any kind of impact.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, that's always a silly like cop out. I think when people like it's like the people that don't like The Walking Dead. If you don't like it, that's fine, but don't say you don't like it because it's too character driven.
Yeah, it's dumb.
If you don't like,
there's
show,
people that say it's not horror.
Yeah, that's just foolishness too.
I think it's maybe because Freddy Krueger is always more interesting than like the people he's killing, but
right.
Maybe they're trying to put the emphasis more on. I don't know. I mean, you got to have a balance.
Yeah, because a zombie isn't an interesting character and look cool and everything, but I mean, what can you really do with the zombie? So in all the zombie movies, the interesting people is always the characters. Besides, like, very rarely like a bub in. But I don't think you can really do that in like The Walking Dead, where you're going to have an interesting zombie character.
No, then it wowould be like Wild Kingdom or something, Here we observe the zombie in its natural habitat.
Because really all the Romero... Because Walking Dead really is a ripoff. I don't say ripoff, but it is heavily based. The comic book, clearly, when I was reading it, it's a continuation of the Romero zombies.
Mm-hmm.
And all those movies are about the human characters. The zombies are there, and they're cool, to look at and all that stuff. But the heart of the story is how the human characters interact.
Oh, yeah.
That's what Night of the Living Dead's all about. Dawn of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After Land of the Dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only one that really has like Day of the Dead with Bob. Even that's not the whole movie. Though.
Like once they started getting into Bob, like it kind of became a little bit less interesting, because like they could only go so far with that character.
Right.
Yeah, and they couldn't make it just all about Bob. I mean, it's part of the movie, but it's not the whole movie.
Yeah, you'd lose like a lot of it then.
Yeah.
I mean, one movie I thought was really horrible was that new Leatherface movie that they came out with.
Oh God.
The whole movie, thinking the other guy is Leatherface, but then like Leatherface is actually like the sympathetic. Like it was just horrible. Like it doesn't even hardly tie into any of the other ones.
No, it was just the pits.
Neil called that when he saw the trailer. He's
even
like,
before
no, what's
that,
gonna happen?
It was just when the poster came out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right.
It was, but yeah, it was, and I just said it facetiously. I never thought that would be true, but I was like, they have this one fat kid, so everyone's gonna think he's Leatherface. But instead he's gonna be one of the model-looking kids, thinking like they couldn't be that stupid. But that's exactly what they did.
The big swerve.
It's so dumb. Because when you watch the original one, there's no way you can watch it and think this was a normal guy at one point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then, he got his face messed up, and now he's this crazy guy. He clearly was, retarded. There's something wrong with him.
He lost the ability to speak and, rationalize suddenly.
Yeah, he's clearly there's something wrong with the guy.
Yeah, he's not quite well.
He's not just like, hey, I decided to go nuts.
I mean, you can tell, like, you know, the way that, like, Gunnar Hansen moves. And
Oh yeah, yep.
He's
There's
very
something seriously wrong about with this guy.
Yeah, he's very childlike to the other people, even though he's physically stronger. He's like obedient to all the other guys, who he could clearly just kill, but he's not a bright person.
Right. Yeah, he was abused or whatever. You know, you could tell like something wrong with that guy's upbringing right there.
Yeah,
it's like more of a brute. Like, you know,
Yeah.
they bring him people to kill. Like, he doesn't go out of his way to, like, you know, he doesn't at least go out of the town to kill people.
Yeah.
And
And he's not someone that spent time in like the school or, you know, any place else.
And had like a girlfriend and all this stuff. It's so dumb. He couldn't function without the other people.
Right.
Yeah.
He cannot be independent.
Yeah, I mean, it's the family that kind of elevates the whole movie.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what makes that one different. Because, you know, there's a lot of them that are kind of relying on the others.
Because you have the cook character who is the most independent of them all.
Mm-hmm.
So he can actually blend into society, and you have a job and possibly, you know, he could get by. People think, you know, hey, that's a regular dude. And then you have the hitchhiker who's clearly mental, and so he can sort of like he can be like on the fringe of society.
Yeah.
Or not really blend in, but he could exist in the world to some extent.
As long as nobody talks to him too much.
All right. And then you have Leatherface, who just could not. Leatherface could not walk into a town.
No, he can't leave the house, basically.
Yeah, he can't be seen. So you have like levels of madness within the family, which you have it in the movie itself. It delves into madness till the very end where the dinner scene. It's just totally crazy and stuff. But so I think that's overlooked so often in a lot of the modern Leatherface movies, where they just focus on Leatherface, which I think is a big mistake, because Leatherface, he's a cool character within all these other things, but just by himself, it's not really something you could base the whole movie about, the whole story about.
I mean, like, you know, Chop Top, you know, really kind of stands out in part 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, after part 3, I mean, they're, you know, it's kind of got, you know, blander and blander, you know.
Yeah, they actually go in order, I think, of badness.
Actually, yeah. The remake, and then the prequel to the remake, and then the...
Which is the one with Vigo in it? Is that number 3? Or
That's
is that
number
4?
3. Yeah, number 3.
I mean, that one's not, you know, unwatchable, but...
No, I think it's fine. I think
it's not as bad as 4, anyway.
No, 4 is really when they're just bad movies.
Yeah.
The third one's kind of like, I think, the slasher of the 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
The third one's like a slasher movie, but it has some cool characters in it. But it's a kind of basic slasher. The second one's a comedy. It's almost a parody of the first movie. Some people don't like that. I like it, but it doesn't work for everybody.
I mean, you couldn't just make the same movie again.
Right.
It goes off in a different direction. I mean, Dennis Hopper kind of had fun to it, too.
Yeah. I didn't like the second one as a kid because it's so comical, and I kind of just hated it. But when I got older and I watch it as a comedy, I do enjoy it.
I love Chop Top. That's about it for me in the second one.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where they ever thought the best idea to make a sequel was to, you know, just keep going more backwards into the prequel.
And then that 3D one, I think, might have been the worst thing I had ever seen.
Oh, yeah, that's just awful. I don't think you saw the newest one. But
no, I haven't seen the Leatherface itself.
They're equally as bad, I think.
Are they?
Yeah.
That movie's just so nonsensical.
Yeah, that one might be the worst, now that I think about it.
Because they just, like, built up the whole, you know, it was like a Halloween H2O type of idea. And then they just, you know, like, killed Bill Moseley and everybody right in the first scene, and then it's just a really unforgettable film after that.
Yeah, and that was like that was like for horror fans, that was the big selling point was you're going to see the original cast here. You're going to see Bill Moseley, and you're going to see Gunnar Hansen. I know Bill Moseley's in the second movie, but you're going to see Gunnar Hansen, and you're going to, I think they forgot to ask Ed Neal.
John Dugan was in it, his grandpa.
Right, yeah, that's perfect. Like now he can play Grandpa.
Right.
They missed a huge thing for that new one because he could have played Grandpa in the sequel because he would have been the right age. He wouldn't have had to. I mean, that would have been just so cool. But
Oh,
they
that
didn't
would have
do it.
been perfect. Yeah. So of course
Yeah.
they didn't do it.
Marilyn Burns was in it. So that was the big thing, like for that 3D one, and they're in it for like a minute.
Yeah.
Like 3 or 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not like they got some great actors to be in the rest of the movie. They're all pretty.
No, we gotta get rid of these guys so that these people can show their wares.
That girl in that movie is so poor. If you
Just
want to,
everything about that movie is so bad.
oh yeah, but it's
Just
not.
right down to, hey, you just got your, whoever it is, you inherited this house. Oh yeah, by the way, there's this maniac living in it, but you don't need to know this shit. Okay.
Lots in the basement. But if you compare Marilyn Burns in the first one, which I think is like possibly the best performance of a scream queen, because she really sells the terror. To the woman in that one, it's like night and day because like she's totally unbelievable when she's being like tortured. She's just like,
Oh, yeah.
and then the end is just awful. So they witness Leatherface, killing all these people. And the policeman just lets him kill like the bad cop guy, which is like, okay, whatever, the mayor, whatever the hell he's. And then they just let him go. It's like you just letting this total maniac go. Like it's so dumb.
I mean, at least in the remake, he had his arm cut off, and he was. I mean, the ending of the first one is just such a quintessential moment, where she's like in total hysteria.
Oh yeah, it's night and day.
Yeah.
They really fucked themselves though on that remake because people did like that remake, and then they cut his arm off and they killed what's your major malfunction numbnuts.
Oh, Arlie Ermy, yeah.
Yeah, so
he was the best part of that movie.
Yeah, they killed the character people loved and they cut Leatherface's arm off. So now what are you gonna do? Well, now we got to do a prequel. Very dumb.
Yeah, they're pretty short-sighted when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's looking big picture, I don't think.
I mean, they could, have a whole universe. They end up, all duking it out.
All right. Well, I think we're going to go to break here. And again, I want to thank Andre. We're going to have Andre back. You can just come back and just talk about horror stuff with us if you'd like.
Yep, we always have the comfy chair with his name on it. He's always welcome to visit anytime he'd like.
Yeah, and we're very proud of Andre making his first feature, and hopefully is to go on to make some more.
Our little boy's done good. I'm very proud of him.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you guys for having me out.
The round of applause.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. One of our favorite people.
And a big fan of the Jasons there, the band of the month, The Misfits and the Ramones and mixing them.
Yeah, it's very fitting because we had a Friday 13th this month, so I thought it was cool to get them on. And they have a very cool horror punk band. They have some really cool videos too. For people out there, I should post them up on the site, but go to YouTube and look up the Jasons, and they have a lot of very cool music videos.
Sweet, yeah, that's
very good. All right, we will return. And again, everyone check out Hell. It's free right now on YouTube. And go and add Andre here as a friend on Facebook. I assume he accepts friends. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. Anyway, if he doesn't accept friends,
at least try it.
Right, you can go like his stuff and follow him. Yeah.
And if you're doing any kind of like film thing, talk to this man and try to get his film onto your
there you go. Yeah, I know a lot of exactly. You can message people. There's film fest, big and small, across the country, conventions. So hopefully we can get Hell playing at some of these events.
Because if I can ever see this on the big screen, I'll totally geek out. I gotta say.
Mm-hmm. And not just because our voices in it.
Yeah. Just because it's our man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is Otto.
This is Strobo. This is Strong.
And this is Max of the Killer Robots. and we're coming to you live from Without Your Head.
Without our heads.